No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by our friends at Play Now. With Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss a one-sided affair tonight in the Motor City where the Winnipeg Jets simply outclassed an overmatched Detroit Red Wings team, winning tonight by a 6-2 margin, just throwing away the stench of the defeat at the hands of the Toronto Maple Leafs from Monday night and starting back with another convincing victory to regain the momentum that had been lost. Dave, good evening to you on this Wednesday evening. That was a one-sided contest. The Detroit Red Wings, fortunate to have been in the game after 40 minutes. They are not a very good hockey team, and the Winnipeg Jets did to them what they have done to many not very good hockey teams so far this year, which is completely control the game.
Well, I know Josh Mertens is very happy that even though he's in Michigan, he is a Jets fan, so he is pleased. Wasn't pleased with all that wooing that we're hearing on the broadcast. That's a new thing apparently in what's it called? In Detroit.
Little Caesars Arena.
Yeah, exactly. So
the very annoying fan who kept wooing throughout the broadcast.
Well, according to Josh, it's multiple fans.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
it's a communal annoyance. It's not a singular annoyance. Then in that case, it's a very good thing the Jets only go to Detroit once per year. And I don't think they're going to meet in the Stanley Cup final either, because I'm not sure the Red Wings are going to quite get that far this season. We'll see about the Jets, but the Red Wings, boy, I mean, they were awful. I mean, I don't really want to be too harsh on it, but they were just absolutely awful in today's game. If it wasn't for some suspect officiating that let the Red Wings back into this contest, this was just as one-sided gets.
I did call that the Jets would get the next two power plays after they went three in a row. I said to our friend Jay Bell that I was fairly confident Jets would get the next two power plays, and of course they did. But anyways, Detroit is not what they used to be. As my Baba Tootsie used to say, what was.
And used to be is so long ago that a lot of people don't remember that.
Sure, but I mean, let's not just quickly, dance on their graves just yet. This was once the best franchise to play for and one of the best franchises in the NHL. I mean, 25 straight years of making the playoffs and 3 Stanley Cups in that. I think it was 3 Stanley Cups. Pretty sure it was 3. Yeah, because they lost to the Penguins in 2009. So
right.
3 Stanley Cups during that time. Henrik Zetterberg, can't forget about him. It was a classic.
You might as well start talking about Ted Lindsay and Gordie Howe. How long ago it's been since the Red Wings were the least bit relevant in the NHL.
Last time I was in Detroit at Joe Louis Arena, I had Gordie Howe tap me on the shoulder and tell me that I was going to go the wrong way as I was leaving from the media area, which is completely different. Was completely different.
Now, that's a good story. That at least is a good story. You were there representing Illegal Curve when you lived in Michigan for a couple of years. And to have a run-in with Mr. Hockey, that's a good story. Hell, it's better than going through this game because holy hell, was it just a bad hockey game from the Detroit Red Wings perspective. The Jets dominant from start to finish, for the most part.
It's true. The Red Wings are not what they used to be, although they came into tonight's game with the same record as the Leafs at 4-4-1.
I tweeted about it. How I didn't understand how they won 4 games already.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, like I said, I don't pay attention to Detroit anymore to the same degree as I used to. And there's no more Nightmare on Helm Street. But the truth is that, this Jets team needed a win like this. They needed to be able to come back. They needed to feel good. They needed to have some 5-on-5 success. Probably don't want to give up. It's amazing though, right? You can't have it all. The 5-on-5 success returns. The power play looks good again. And then they give up a couple of penalty kill goals. So they're suddenly fourth ranked. It was like 15th, 3 games ago. Then it was 9th. Then it was the fourth ranked PK in the NHL. But ultimately, this Jets club is got to be happy because to steal a Drewism, if you will.
Ooh.
Yes, that's right. You did to the team what you should have done to this team, which was you beat up on them and you took advantage. And the truth is also that Kyle Connor probably could have had 10 goals in this game. Cole Perfetti could have hit 2 posts. He could have had more goals in this game. Mark Scheifele had a chance. So I'm just saying that there were a lot of good chances for this Jets club.
Yeah.
In the first and third periods. And so there were a lot of opportunities for them to have success.
Look, the Jets did exactly what they're supposed to do, to your point there, Dave. So I don't want to, I know I'm making fun of the Red Wings because how bad they are and how bad they were tonight. But that shouldn't overshadow that the Jets still had to perform in order to take advantage of a weaker opponent.
Right.
And that is absolutely what they did tonight. They did it from the puck drop from get-go. This is a team, of course, as we well know, that has been starting slow over the last number of games. They've been giving up the first goal.
Yeah, they probably didn't know what happened tonight.
Yeah, exactly. They say, it's a lot easier to play from when you have the lead from the get-go. So this is a team that has been sort of slow out of the gate. You didn't know how they were going to respond to the loss on Monday against the Maple Leafs. Was that going to impact their confidence? Was it going to impact their approach? I was a little surprised, I'll be honest, that Scott Arniel went with the exact same lineup. I thought that you might have seen Hayden Fleury come into the game, or maybe see a little bit of a juggling of the lines, of the forward lines, but you saw nothing of that whatsoever. Same group that they had, for the last number of games, and that group rewarded the faith and the loyalty that their fired up head coach showed them. Fired up after the Red Wings' first goal. We'll get to that as we get into the Play Now game recap. But he rewarded the loyalty. He rewarded the consistency. And as a result, the Jets walk away with a one-sided 6-2 victory. In just, they just stepped on their weaker opponent, and that's something you absolutely want to see. Sometimes teams take their opponents for granted or take their opponents lightly. The Jets did nothing of the sorts tonight. They just went into Detroit and they punked them, is what they did. They were big brother versus little brother, and little brother, they Jets were like holding their head there while little brother's trying to fight and throw the fists, and he can't do it. And that's how the Jets treated the Red Wings tonight.
Yeah, look, like I said, this was an important game to kind of recenter things and to calm everyone down. I mean, this was an 8-0-0 team before the last loss. And while you don't like
when
the
you
last
lose to
loss,
Toronto, it's the problem.
No, of course. And I know that folks didn't want to lose to the Leafs, and you can let them have their victory. That's fine, but you need to move on. The Jets did, and they refocused. And like I said, to me, I wanted to see how they'd come out, and they came out. I also drew to kind of get back to your lineup point. I was surprised. I thought that there might be some changes. I thought maybe you'd see Hayden Fleury come into the lineup. I thought maybe David Gustafsson would get a chance, in the lineup. No such move from Scott Arniel. And so instead he goes with, like I said, he just throws them back in and says, listen, you guys did some good things during that undefeated streak. We're going to give you an opportunity to kind of get back out of it. And don't think that he took some serious umbrage with the questioning at the end of last game about the 5-on-5 play of his top line. And if you look at the numbers, I don't know why he had any umbrage, because the numbers were showing that the top line was getting outscored.
Yeah.
But he wanted to, give them a chance. And this is one of those opportunities that you can feel good, especially after that first period, about how you're doing 5-on-5, because we've talked about it. You've got world-class goaltending. The special teams, while I don't suspect it's going to stay at first and fourth, well, I know it won't stay at fourth, but I know, and by the way, how many is that now? 2 power play goals, not power play goals, scored seconds after the power play it ended. I know it's at least 2.
Right.
But I'm just saying
there was the Colin Miller one tonight.
Yeah. And there was one 2 days ago.
Was it Niederreiter a couple games ago?
Yes. Coming down. I think it must've been in the second period, because it was on the far side from our press spot in the press box. And they scored. Was that in Calgary? I'm trying to remember.
It
But
doesn't
folks will
matter.
remind us. We were doing. I was trying to remember.
The games blend together a little bit, so we can't vividly recall the time the time where goals were scored necessarily to perfection. But yes, the goal tonight again, power play effective, 5-on-5 effective, penalty kill of all things was not effective
Yeah.
for the Jets, which is what had been quite a strength as of late.
And the Wings aren't particularly good at the power play there. I mean, again, we've only still 10% of the season. They're 19th, I think, or they were 19th coming into tonight's game.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Red Wings to me are just. I just don't know what they are as a team. It's sort of a shame that Dylan Larkin has to continue to waste his career playing in that mishmash of nothingness. If you could tell me what the Red Wings identity is or what they're trying to do on a game in, game out basis, you're a smarter person than I am, because it's unclear to me. The Jets just went in there, and you love the response. You love that the team responds to Scott Arniel saying, flush the Toronto loss. That wasn't us. They were fighting the puck in that Toronto game all game long. Get back at it. Get the same guys out there. No panic. No changes. Just go and play your game, and you're going to go beat a team that is worse than you are if you play to your standard. And to the players' credit, they played to that standard. That's what I like most, is that they didn't rest on their laurels. They didn't sort of lick their own wounds. They came out as an angry bunch of players. I mean, I feel as though that they played with a chip on their shoulder. The way they started tonight's game against the Detroit Red Wings. Anytime you can get those 3 goals, early in the game, 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of the game. That's being ready out of the blocks. That's being ready when the gate drops and the horses and the thoroughbreds can start to gallop. That's what the Jets were tonight, and they really affirmed themselves as one of the best teams in the league, certainly the best team in terms of points, having the 900 points percentage right now, which is the tops in the NHL. I think that they were a little maybe humbled on Monday against the Leafs, and they said, nah, that wasn't us. That was an anomaly. This is us. This is us beating up on the little guy, and we're going to gladly do it to the Detroit Red Wings and take out some frustrations on them.
Well, and remember, Drew, I mean, this is the game that if the Jets didn't do that, if it was a close game, if it was a 3-2 final, a 4-3 final, Jets fans wouldn't be happy, because they'd say, well, look, you won, but you didn't really defeat them. Well, they defeated them. They took it to them, and that was one of those. Well, there you go. Troy is loving this. I don't know if he's the president of the Michigan Winnipeg Jets fan club.
Self-appointed president.
Yeah, I don't know. President. I mean, just to make sure that I don't know if Josh is approved of that, and there are obviously with all the Michigan members. And it's funny. I mentioned on the post-game report, Drew. I said, Michigan men. I said Connor Hellebuck and Kyle Connor, but that really does a disservice to Vladimir Mesnikov, who's been in Michigan since he was like 15 years old. So he's as much a Michigan man as anyone, as folks who listened to his interview with us many, what was it, last summer when we had him on?
That would have been it was when was it? It was 2 summers ago, because it was after the bonus comments after the loss to the Golden Knights, the Game 5 comments.
There you go. So anyways, lots of Michigan men on this team, and Mason Appleton, not a Michigan man, obviously from Wisconsin, but went to Michigan State in East Lansing, of course. So there's a lot of Michigan connections on this Jets team. So that was something that was also a factor, right? That was something that was going to be important for Kyle Connor. The 4 points, unexpected 4 points in that game against the Leafs, vaulted him from what was it, 495 to 499, and it seemed pretty good chance that he was going to get to 500 in his home state. Sure enough, he does. And as we learned on the broadcast, he becomes the first Michigan-born player to get to 500 points. It's a rather random stat in Michigan itself. So
hang on. He's not the first Michigan-born player to get to 500 points. But the first one to accomplish it while getting that 500th point while playing a game in Michigan.
That's right.
Okay, that is a random stat. That is a very random stat.
I'm pretty sure Mike Modano from He's from like Livonia. I'm probably mispronouncing it. In right near Detroit. He's definitely had over 500 points.
Yes,
There's a few others as well.
that's why I was a little bit confused there for a
Yeah.
second as to where you were going. Nonetheless, a very impressive effort by the Winnipeg Jets. 6-2. They absolutely control the game from puck drop to final whistle. Let's get into
Hold
the
on, Drew.
nitty-
Hold on. I got some more fun ones. Mike
Nope.
Modano, 1374. Doug Waite, Brian Rolston, Mark Howe, Kevin Hatcher, David Legwan, Ryan Kessler, Jimmy Carson, Brian Rafalski, Dylan Larkin, and now Kyle Connor.
There you go. But Connor's the first one to do it in Michigan.
Yeah.
Is what
So
you're
there were 11 that preceded Kyle Connor. Sorry, there were
Yeah.
10 that preceded Kyle Connor, and he becomes the first of the Michigan men to get that milestone in Michigan.
There you go. Random stat indeed. From
Which is funny
Dave
because
Minogue.
Dylan Larkin
Plays
who's
for the
from
Red Wings.
Michigan
Yeah.
and plays for the Red Wings, but he must have obviously got to 500 points outside of Detroit.
He must have he must have been on the road for that game is what happened.
What is this, Lee? What is this, Red Wings lunch?
Well, who knows what the hell it is? That's what people ask me all the time is what is that? And I'm not sure. And I've been doing the broadcast for many a year now. Let's get into the Play Now game recap. Goal by goal, the Winnipeg Jets control with a 6-2 victory over the Red Wings.
The Play Now game recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Sign up for Play Now and get a casino welcome bonus up to $150. Play Now is Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site and the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. I do have a quibble. I thought I was going to win the 50-50 at Monday's game, and I didn't, so I think that they should redraw until I do win the 50-50. That would be, I think, only fair and only reasonable if you ask me, Dave. Yeah. I was going to split it with you if you said yes. So there you go. You said yes, so we're on board. We'll split it together. The Jets opened the scoring at the 2:48 mark of the first period. It's Gabe Vilardi. He gets his third of the season. Assist to Kyle Connor and Logan Stanley. And you sort of got the impression it was going to be one of a Kyle Connor show tonight. Mm-hmm. And it was. The Red Wings just give the puck away at the Jets' defensive blue line. Stanley chips it up to Connor. Connor with a perfect saucer pass onto the tape of Gabe Vilardi. Just an absolute beaut of a pass, something he still doesn't get enough credit for, how good he is as a passer in addition to as a scorer. And Gabe Vilardi says, thank you very much. And the Jets say, thank you very much. And the Jets have a 1-0 lead 2 minutes and 48 seconds into the first period.
Well, Drew, that's one of my big takes, if you will. Not, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a hot take.
Is it a hot take? Is it hot?
Yeah, I'm not really a big hot taker. Maybe lukewarm, but the fact is lukewarm. Well, it's not quite as hot as the fire above my head, but the truth is that the Jets, like I said, Kyle Connor is a sublime passer, and he doesn't get credit for it. His goal scoring, they jibber jabbered on the broadcast about it. How Sean and Reynolds talking about how quickly he gets the shot off.
So hang on, let me interrupt you. Rennie got new glasses. Is that what looked different about him? I was trying to pinpoint.
The hair was also different.
The hair is different for sure, but it's a new glasses.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't really pay attention to Sean's look, his style, if you will, but maybe it was. There was something looked a little different about him. But although I was a little disappointed, he gave a shout out to his buddy in beer league hockey. Kind of didn't give a shout out to Colin Jensen, his videographer. Said, the guy who takes his cameraman. I mean, Colin, he said, our cameraman. I'm like, the cameraman has a name, Sean, and it's Colin. Well, we'll give Colin a shout out here on this show. There you go, Colin Jensen. But no.
Okay, people are saying it's the glass. People are saying he doesn't normally wear glasses and that he has glasses, that he had glasses on. So I think I might be onto something there. As a glasses aficionado, as we all well know, I'm one with the brethren of the bespectacled brethren around the world.
Hey, that you got to be what you got to be, Drew. But like this is, it's critical because one thing with the Jets that they haven't been doing is starting on time, right? And it's a fairly harmless looking play. The Red Wings played a little bit casually, but it's a great counterattack by the Jets. And Logan Stanley just gets his stick, on a loose puck, kind of swats it, and like you said, it gives the Jets a chance to counterattack. And Kyle Connor, I mean, that's that's just as perfect a dish as you're going to see made in the game today. And like I said, to me, what's so appropriate for him as he gets to 500 points and then obviously beyond is the fact that he does it with almost equal splits between his goals. I think right now he's 252 and 250. So, I mean, it's just remarkable that he is able to do the things he does. And like I said, we've borne witness to it through many, many years. And he's just a fantastic passer. So I just thought it was appropriate that he gets it with an assist and a beautiful one to Gabe Vilardi, who is a real important piece. Like, here's a guy who, he's feeling good about himself. He's starting to contribute. And you could sense, even though the Jets were going, I mean, this is just something I picked up being inside the room, was that, like, I remember I didn't ask, but somebody asked to talk to him and he was kind of like, what do you guys want to talk to me for? I haven't done anything. Right. But you kind of got the sense that he was like, not with us, but I think just frustrated. He wanted to kind of get in, he wanted to be asked to speak to when he was doing something. Right. And now he's doing something. Now he's contributing. So you can tell that, there's a value to that for guys to be able to contribute on the score sheet like that. So he gets a goal and it's an important one.
Yeah, it is an important one. It gets the Jets off to the good start in tonight's game. And the Jets decide to increase that good start less than a minute and a half later at the 4:02 mark. It's off an offensive zone face-off, a clean face-off win, which is important because the Jets were absolutely awful in the face-off circle on Monday night against the Leafs. Scheifele with the clean win. He wins it back to Neil Pionk. Strong, aggressive play by Pionk here. He gets it over to Kyle Connor. Connor with the shot, and then Pionk, who's on his horse, decides to jump up, goes right net front. This is got to be a design play off the faceoff, because he goes and he gets the rebound of the Connor shot. Alex DeBrincat, who is his guy up at the blue line, just lets Pionk go, because he doesn't think that Pionk is really, it's unusual for Pionk to be charging from the blue line, hard downhill right next to the net. Big juicy rebound off the stick of Alex Lyon, and Pionk is able to tuck it behind the goaltender to give the Jets a 2-0 lead. Again, the Jets ready to go. The Red Wings flat-footed. They're not expecting Pionk to all of a sudden go be a net front presence on this set play off of the face-off win. But the Jets execute it to a T. Connor with the nice shot. Scheifele with the nice win. Pionk with the nice rebound. The Jets with a 2-0 lead.
And you know what? It's funny. The one play I would want to highlight is that Kyle Connor dropped back and protected the blue line for Neil Pionk rather than moving forward and ensuring that there wasn't going to be an odd man rush. That to me was, I thought something that was, I remember watching it. I was like, it's actually a smart play, right? And you take it for granted. Oh yeah, well, that's obvious. But with that group, because they're so offensively minded, you could have seen Connor shift. And instead he stays where he needs to stay in order to ensure that, to allow Neil Pionk to, go at the net and make that attack and be aggressive. So you like to see that Kyle Connor is standing back, waiting to, assist defensively if you need him to. And yeah, Drew, you do like the fact that Pionk is being aggressive. And it's interesting because, and I couldn't remember the number. I was trying to remember. It was from the beginning of training camp last year where Rick Bowness was asked about his defense. And he said, well, I thought he said 44 goals. I thought that was the number he had said last year, was that he wants 44 goals from his defense in order to kind of get the contributions that they need. Well, this group,
because 2 years ago,
they weren't getting enough.
Were woeful when it came to defensive scoring. I think they were towards the bottom of the NHL, and that was a point of emphasis entering last year. Is what you're sort of you're referencing.
Well, ahead of last year. I mean, the fact is that they're on pace for 65 now. Again, on pace is always more of my fun thing than reality, but it was more just that idea that they're contributing, and the back end is that was the concern. Would this defensive group have enough juice without Brendan Dillon, who, again, like I said, he's not lighting it up. Although I actually don't think he has a goal yet in New Jersey. He has I think 3 or 4 assists, but I don't think he has a goal yet for the Devils. But without Brendan Dillon and his, what did he have last year? Did he have 8? He didn't get the 10. I think he had 8 last year, right?
Yeah, career high. I think career high about 8. I think it was 8 goals, something like that.
It was either 8 or 10. I can't remember exactly what his number was, but regardless, whatever it was, were they going to be able to find that replacement? Well, we know Dylan Sandberg already up to 2. And as we'll detail, throughout the course of this broadcast, more guys got involved from the back end. But you like to see the aggressiveness from Pionk on a play that clearly, like you said, Drew, is designed by this team.
Yeah. Jets decide to make it 3-0 in the first period at the 15:44 mark. And it starts with in the Jets defensive zone. Andrew Kopp throws the puck cross ice into the corner. I think a Red Wings player was expecting a Red Wings player to be there, but what happens is the Jets immediately, despite being almost 200 feet away from the Red Wings goal, Kyle Connor picks it up on the half wall and he's off to the races immediately. A great pass to Gabe Vilardi. Moritz Seider is flat-footed, so Connor, even though he doesn't have the puck, is able to get behind Seider because he's got the head of speed, and Seider looked like he was coasting a little bit. Vilardi gets it to Connor, and Connor with an absolute sweet set of mitts to deke out the goaltender and have the wide open net to slide the backhand in. And it's amazing because this goal really does start at the half wall in the Jets' own zone. So it starts with a strong backtrack, a turnover by the Red Wings, but it doesn't, it's still as a strong backtrack and then a blink of an eye transition goal. Connor on the horse, Vilardi with the perfect pass, giving it back to Connor after Connor gave it to Vilardi for the first goal of the game. And he makes no mistake. And the Jets have a 3-0 lead after 20 minutes, and they're just absolutely firing on all cylinders in a dominant first period for the team from Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great defense by the Red Wings by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, Seider was he a 6 overall pick, I believe, right, Drew, back in the day by the Red Wings, and that's just not good defense. I mean, you have to have your presence of mind to know who's on the ice and
who's coming downhill at you. You can't.
That's right.
You can't miss it. You can't stride for. If you're not moving your feet, you're gonna lose to Kyle Connor in a foot race. And that's all he needs. He needs a half stride of an advantage, and you're gonna lose.
Sure, and unfortunately, if I'm Andrew Kopp, he's looking at the defenseman saying, okay, well, you're with Connor, and I'm gonna get the high man. And instead, nobody's got Connor because he's behind Seider, and next thing you know, it's in the back of the net. But it's a fantastic move, and like you said, it results from a turnover, but it's that quick transition. And one thing with Kyle Connor is, I mean, just how fast he is, and Gabe Vilardi, beautiful pass, and just Lions going one way, Connor's going the other, and suddenly it's 3-0 and 3 goals, 5-on-5.
Yeah,
so this
3
team.
goals.
Which is one thing this Jets team, if you read the morning papers, if you read everything we've been writing or anybody has been writing, I should say about this Jets team, it's all about 5-on-5 right now. Like, we know the power play was working. We know the 6-on-5 was working, but it just was the 5-on-5 that they weren't being successful in. And after the first period, I think that was, 3 goals on.
From the first period, the Jets
Drew,
had
Drew, that was the third 3 goals on 7 shots.
Yeah.
So that's
it was 2 goals on 3 shots. After the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No, I was watching with my son, and he's like, "Dad, they've only got 3 shots on goal, yet they have 2 goals." I know. I said, "Yes, son, that's true." He's like, "They're not very good, Detroit." And I said, "Yes, son, that is true." Then we hugged. It was a beautiful father-son moment, really.
Forget about your father-son moment. I'm more concerned about the fact that that's the kind of analysis, in-depth analysis, that we need here on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. So tell Sam he's welcome anytime.
No, he can replace me at any time. Let's be honest. He's he's got some great one-liners. That goes and then some. 3-0 at that point in time. The Jets could have had more. I mean, Cole Perfetti, he had multiple opportunities.
Oh, for sure.
He had a post, he had a crossbar. He looked up skywards. A couple different times. So Perfetti had a multitude of opportunities. The Jets really had opportunities to make it 4-0. Early in the second period. Instead, the officials decide to get involved in the game, and they get a what I'll describe as a cheap call on Dylan Samberg. You saw how fired up Scott Arniel was about that. That's the most fired up I think we've seen Scott Arniel behind the bench as Winnipeg Jets head coach, either in the interim role or in the permanent role, and not as permanent as any head coaching job is, of course.
Yeah.
But he was not happy with that call on Dylan Samberg for interference. I tend to agree with him. I thought it was a pretty cheap, pretty chintzy call. I thought Samberg was entitled to where he was, and JT Compher just, I don't know what Compher was really doing, but the refs fell for it. They got baited by it, and they fell for it. And Dylan Larkin gets the Red Wings on the board on the power play, 6 seconds into the power play, assist to Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider to cut the lead from 3-0 to 3-1 and give the Red Wings a little bit of life.
Yeah, and what's interesting, of course, is the fact that I'm watching it, and originally I thought, oh, was it a pick? And then you watch it when you actually watch the replay, you realize like he is entitled to be in that space, right? So I mean, it's not. I mean, I understand that hockey's a fast game, but I don't know. Watching that,
The refs got baited. They fell for it. It was good by Comfer to pull it off. And you could sort of understand why on first glance it does look like a pick, but then you watch the replay.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and you realize that Sandberg was moving with the play.
I actually thought Nemestikov did it, to be honest with you. Well, when I watched it originally, I was like, oh, Nemestikov did that, and then I was like, oh no, it was Sandberg.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I thought Sandberg was just in the flow of the play, whereas Comfer was just in la la land and happened to benefit by Sandberg just trying to be almost, I'm going to say, too active, and I don't really mean too in that Sandberg did anything wrong there. Just the ref sort of fell for it.
Maybe Comfer wanted to be part of the CCM line once again and play alongside Kyle Connor. And who's the other one?
Tyler Mott.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
Where is he playing?
Going to get that?
Where is he playing though?
Tyler Mott is he playing in Chicago?
It's a good question. I have no idea. Actually, he was with Vancouver, but I don't know if he's still with the Canucks.
I don't know where Tyler Mott is right now. Tells you.
I just checked.
Yeah, that's why the Jets.
You know what? Tyler Mott is with the Detroit Red Wings.
He wasn't very noticeable if he played tonight in that case.
I don't think he played in the game, but let me tell you, I didn't realize they had 2/3.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, they don't have the good third.
Yeah,
yeah, the good third is the one who's got 3 points in the first period for the Winnipeg Jets.
Neither do the Boston Bruins after they passed on Kyle Connor 3 different times in 2015.
That was remarkable.
Although I didn't realize, I keep forgetting that the Islanders took Barzal before Connor as well. Not that he's not worked out for them, but
yeah, no, he's been good for them as well. In any event, 3-1 at this point in time, and that sort of gives the Red Wings a little bit of life. And for the next, I would say, 10 or so minutes of the second period, it's the most even part of the game. Mm-hmm. Of the 60 minutes that this game was played, this is the most even part where the Red Wings were arguably the better of the two teams. The Jets were having some trouble getting out of their own zone. I think we see it on social media, courtesy our buddy Garrett Hull. The Jets had 10 failed zone exits in the second period, and you could see the Jets were struggling. Logan Stanley was caught on the ice for about a shift that I think was at least 2.5 minutes. Yeah, late in that second period where the Jets couldn't clear the zone, and eventually it ended up in an icing, and they still couldn't clear it. Eventually, they got it out. But the Jets take another penalty. Neil Pionk, when the Jets were on their heels in the course of that sequence, Neil Pionk gets called for hooking. And the Red Wings go to the power play, and about 55 seconds into the power play, at the 17:40 mark of the second period, the Red Wings cut this lead from 3-0 to 3-2. Alex DeBrincat, his 5th of the year, assist to Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider, a very similar looking goal to the first one. And a game that the Jets really should be in control of on the scoreboard is all of a sudden a 1-goal game after 40 minutes, Dave.
Yeah, and Drew, you talk about like the Jets had the puck on their stick, a number of times where they had the chance to clear the puck and they didn't do so.
Right.
And whether it led to plays that led to the penalties themselves or the goals, it was just unforced errors by Winnipeg. I mean, things that they could have very easily handled, differently, and they don't. And so as a result, you give up something which again, ideally you do not, which is you allow the Wings to get back in. And we were a little bit surprised because the Jets penalty kill had been so good.
Right.
But the one thing you have to say about the Red Wings is while they're not a particularly good team 5-on-5 and maybe not necessarily the best defensive team, they do have some guys who can put the puck in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, like I said, another one of those opportunities for Winnipeg where you have the chance to clear a puck and you don't. And like, unfortunately for them, Logan Stanley, I'm not really sure what he's doing in front of the net. You got to tie someone up or do something, but he's just kind of puts himself into that, he's got a chance, right? And then just doesn't do anything. And it's just ineffective. And he's kind of caught in between two players, but you have to part of the problem in the NHL is it's a fast game, but you have to be, your decision-making has to be at that level, right? Like you have to be able to do that quickly. and he's a little bit tentative because he's caught in that no man's land because with Morrissey high.
Yeah,
And
story of his career, just always
Sure.
tentative or unsure of himself. I mean, and it's just a function of a player who probably isn't the top 6 defenseman. I mean, he is on this Jets team, and for the time being at least. But you could see him. When Logan Stanley has trouble, he doesn't have the foot speed. He's got trouble against teams that can skate, and when he has to go, when he has to try and match foot speed, that's when he struggles, and he ends up reaching out and taking penalties and putting himself out of position a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't exactly laud Rasmus Kupari on this either. He kind of was skating around looking for someone to take, but not really doing much effectively. And maybe that's because he's supposed to be there. But he's another guy who could have allowed Josh Morrissey to drop back if he, takes the high man. But regardless, like I said, it's not a great play, and the PK, which to this date had been very good, has suddenly given up 2 goals and, from a Jets perspective, suddenly allowed a Detroit team that looked like they were completely out of it, gave them that life to try and think, oh, maybe we got something cooking here.
Right. The Jets get.
And sorry, Drew, I should say, even though I know that, the Mark Scheifele penalty on who did he get it on? Was it on Sider?
Sider. It was on Moritz Sider. The first penalty of the game late in the first period.
Yeah. At the end of, so that's, and the continuation penalties I know are always difficult. It's hard to build momentum in between periods. But the Jets PK was good, I thought, in that first iteration, and then not so much in second and third.
As soon as they called the Samberg penalty, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, as soon as the ref fell for that one, I'm like, well, this is going in the back of the net. It's just hockey 101 is what happens there, is that the hockey gods smile on the Red Wings and they get a what I'll describe as a BS call in their favor. And that it's usually going to end up in the back of your net, as it did in that instance. But the hockey gods smiled on the Jets 10 seconds into the third period. The goal that makes it 4-2 is by Nito Niederreiter. And you damn well know it's
the Seagram shot of the game.
I mean, it was just so comically bad of a goal that it had to be the Seagram shot of the game. I was like, what just happened? I'm putting the kids to bed and sort of keeping an eye on the game, and I'm like, okay, 10 seconds in, just kids go to bed. I'm like, what? They just scored? How did that go in? I was like, Laura and I were sitting there, we're watching that goal. I'm like, what just happened? How did that puck go in? The net looks like it's off the moorings, and the puck's in the back of the net, and there's only one Jet player around, that Nito Niederreiter. It's just like Niederreiter he sort of just shuffleboards the puck towards Alex Lyon, and it deflects off of Lyon, then off of Ben Sherratt. Sherratt with a huge impact for the benefit of his old team, and into the back of the net 10 seconds into the third period. Probably the worst goal, one of the worst goals that's certainly been scored this year, I would say. It looks beautiful on the score sheet, but in terms of the highlight reel, it's going to be on the low light reel and on bloopers and the non-plays of the week. This one is ugly all around, but the Jets will absolutely take it, and that was just it. The Red Wings could not come back from they're fortunate to be only a goal down starting the third period. Then this fluker goes in the net, and the Red Wings just look completely demoralized for the rest of the third period, Dave.
And some fun factoids as a result.
Fun factoids as a result of that goal?
There are, but I will not take credit for them. I will give, well, I don't know who specifically, because the Jets have 3,000 people who work for their social media team. So I don't know who came up with it, but I will give them generally credit, because they said that was the 5th fastest goal to open a period, behind number 4, Brian Little, 9 seconds in 2014. Okay. Number 2 and 3 are tied. Not the 3 guys are tied, with 8 seconds. Paul Stastny, 2021. Andrew Ladd, 8 seconds in 2013. And Kyle Wellwood, the sniper, in 2011. So
wow.
Nino Niederreiter with the 5th fastest to open that. And Andrew, if you want to keep the fun facts going,
Andrew is my name. It's true.
He ties Chris Thorburn for 34th on the all-time list of points by a Jets player with 56. The man who put T in GST. And I, of course, will use any opportunity to bring up the GST, courtesy of Ezzy.
Yes. Not the tax, but the Jets
And
line
Jay
of
Richardson and yours
Glass,
truly as the fuel to get
yes,
it going.
Glass, Slater, and Thorburn. So 4-2 for the Winnipeg Jets, 10 seconds into the third period. Then the power play comes to life. You knew the Jets were going to get a power play opportunity, and they do it with a tripping penalty after Nikolai Ehlers is hauled down by the Red Wings defenseman Johansson. I'm not terribly familiar with him. I'll be perfectly honest with you, folks. Albert Johansson, who is not a household name when it comes to hockey players. He takes down Nikolai Ehlers. Otherwise, Ehlers was going to come in all alone. Instead, the Jets get their first power play opportunity of the game. And with about 27 seconds to go on the power play, Neil Pionk gets his third of the year, second of the game, assist to Alex Iafallo, and Vlad Nemesnikov take the shot, get traffic in front, and good things are going to happen. And again, that's what happened here on this one. A clean breakout, a clean zone entry, and then they tee up Pionk for the opportunity, and he just beats Alex Lyon, who really, again, no disrespect, did not look like an NHL caliber goaltender for the Red Wings tonight.
So what you're saying is you need to spend less time staring at his cameraman and more time staring at the ice or the puck. Is that what you're saying?
Explain.
Well, you obviously didn't see during the intermission, they showed like Connor Hellebuck staring at Colin Jensen. And then I guess Alex Lyon also tends to stare at the cameraman. So,
well, look, if he wants to emulate any goalie and he chooses Connor Hellebuck, that's a good goaltender to emulate. No criticism there, but he looked overmatched by the Jets tonight. Not that the Red Wings played well in front of him or anything, so let's not get carried away. But it's not like this was what I would describe as a great shot by Pionk. It was an effective shot, but I just didn't think Alex Lyon was very good tonight for the Detroit Red Wings, and which probably speaks to some of the struggles that the Red Wings continue to have. They haven't been able to find a goaltender for a very long time, and when you don't have a goalie, or when you try and trot out 2 or 3 number one goalies, all that really means is you don't have a number one goalie.
No, and Drew, I got so excited about something else about that. I forgot my fun factoid I was going to bring out but it was a relevant factoid, so it was going to be time sensitive for this part of the show, but now I've completely forgotten. It's eluded me. It's lost into the ether. We'll hopefully get it back at some point. I'm going to cough, so you can talk for 1 second.
Okay, Dave's going to cough. We don't want to hear that. So Pionk makes it 5-2. The Red Wings at this point in time. Okay, you remembered?
No, I'm back.
You finished coughing. Okay.
I just finished coughing. But look, I mean, this is we're still talking about the Neil Pionk goal, I'm assuming, right, Drew?
Yes, we are. We haven't moved off just yet.
Okay, just want to make sure. But I just like the fact that the second power play unit again is continuing to show that they can get it done. Just if I believe now they actually have the lead over the first power play unit in terms of goals for. I'm not 100% sure. We'd have to ask Kelly Moore, the statistician, on that one. But you just like the fact that, again, Neil Pionk takes the ice that's given to him. And yeah, you're right. You don't like that goal getting past Lyon. Well, you do if you're a Jets fan. You don't like it if you're the Red Wings. Right. But I just think that, again, it's just an opportunity. They're taking the ice that's given to them and they're making quick decisions. That's the other thing I want to say. Like this team is, and I know that Sean, like I said, referenced it on the show, or on the broadcast, but I just like the fact that this Jets club is not delaying, because it just felt like they played cat and mouse and it just took too long and allowed teams to get set up, and they just weren't able to kind of create what they could create potentially. And now you're seeing the benefit, I think, of a team that's playing faster.
Yeah, and then the Jets wrap up the scoring in tonight's game. Colin Miller gets, just after the next penalty, the Dylan Larkin slashing penalty, 4 seconds after that one expires. Colin Miller gets his second of the game. So if you're counting at home, that's 3 goals tonight. 3 of the Jets' 6 goals tonight come from defensemen. His second assist to Adam Lowry on this one. And again, it's just another bad goal. I mean, it's just a whiff by Alex Lyon. This wasn't one of Colin Miller's clap bombs. This wasn't him stepping into one and setting the record for the hardest shot so far of the year or anything like that. It's just, a shot that's got to be saved. I mean, it's 5-2 at this point in time, so it's not like Detroit's going to battle back.
No.
But Colin Miller makes it 6-2, and then it's the final 10 minutes are just about, ragging the puck, if you will, and everyone just sort of hoping to get through it unscathed for the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I don't think we need to describe that Colin Miller goal too significantly, Drew, because as you just detailed, it was not probably what goal that, Alex Lyon wants to let in. But at the end of the day, it contributes to the good feelings on the bench, and there's a lot of smiles. And more to the point, this Jets club is now be able to leave behind the stench, if you will, as you started this broadcast, of that game against the Leafs, where they got away from how they like to play, and they got back more towards what they want from a Jets, what a Jets game should look like. And they did it against the team. And like I said, the sentiment from this club is, you have to have that killer instinct. They did against Detroit, whether that Niederreiter goal was fluky or not, which obviously it was, but it just is one of those things that you stepped on their neck like you needed to. You controlled the play. Connor Hellebuck still made that kind of unusual save from his stomach, but he made the saves that he needed to make. You didn't make it overly taxing on him, of course. And now you can have a day off tomorrow, go into Columbus on Friday and try and start a new streak. And speaking of streaks, I should mention, Drew, fun fact again.
Oh, wow.
Kyle Connor, 17 straight games actually it's 18 straight games. Sorry. My math is terrible, because I think he ended the season with an 8-game point streak last year.
Yeah.
And 10 straight this year, which would give him 18. So 18 straight games with a point in the regular season. Again, you can get mad, but it's the NHL that keeps that continuity. I think it's stupid. But if as they did with the wins record, Kyle Connor's points record is there as well.
There you go, Dave M. Fun facts galore. Fun fact, 6-2 Jets victory. Fun fact, 28-11 the scoring chances in tonight's game in the Jets' favor. And fun fact, the high danger chances, 12-3 in favor of the Winnipeg Jets. So you're absolutely right. Not the most taxing night that Connor Hellebuck has ever faced, only facing 21 shots in the entirety of the 60 minutes. Jets next in action on Friday against Columbus. We'll come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We'll touch on that. We'll touch on some other things from around the NHL. Don't go anywhere. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's presented by our friends at Play Now. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you on a Wednesday night.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in two unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal, starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
The clock has struck 10 in the evening. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you, talking about the Red Wings and the Jets. The Jets with a decisive 6-2 victory tonight in Motor City. The Jets head to Columbus, Ohio, Friday night. They make the short trip from Detroit to Columbus, where they will face the surprising Columbus Blue Jackets off to a 5-3-1 start. They shut out the New York Islanders 2-0 tonight. So for a Blue Jackets team, of course, going through the tragedy of losing Johnny Gaudreau in the offseason, and not a lot of expectations about them moving into this year, they're off to a tremendous start, which just as a human being, you sort of have to love to see. The Jets certainly will have to bring their A game to a Blue Jackets team that is playing very well and clicking on all cylinders on Friday night. That's a 6:00 puck drop, which makes post game right around that 8:30 mark. So an early night for us before we have to do it all over again on Saturday morning there, Dave M.
That is true. And Drew, I'm not scoreboard watching because I don't believe in that just yet, but I was curious how old friend Capo Kakinen was going to do in his Avalanche debut. I was curious yesterday to see.
The answer is not well.
Yes. So I was curious to see what had happened because kind of stopped hearing about him after he got cleaned by the Avs 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And then I noticed he was in Colorado, jokes aside, the Eagles, the AHL team. And he was on a conditioning stint, played 2 games, didn't win either, but his numbers were okay. And then he got recalled yesterday and he's in the net, 19 shots against, 15 saves, 4 goals against in even strength, 789 save percentage right now for Capo Kakinen in net for Colorado. So
Colorado, it's going through one right now. The injury bug has hit them.
I'm pretty sure they had one of their defensemen playing forward. I was listening to Megan Angley today, and she said something like that. One of their defensemen had to move up to forward to play. So they got like 6 or 7 guys up front who are injured right now.
Yeah, they do. I'm trying to think who the defenseman was. I think it's Shillington, if I'm not mistaken.
That's who it was. That's Shillington. That's right.
Shillington is playing forward for them. They are absolutely injury riddled. Something absolutely wild right now. So who knows what's going to happen with the Avalanche? But when you're injury riddled up front and you don't have any goaltending on the back end, Cale Makar can only do so much. Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon can only do so much. They might be able to do enough, but not necessarily game in and game out, and they're getting a little bit schwacked right now by the Lightning 4-1.
And Jets fans are not going to cry for them. They're not going to be too upset about that. So they'll take advantage of them losing. I think the Blues got hammered yesterday. So like I said, this is an opportunity to make out hay. You want to keep doing it and take advantage of the opportunities that you're given. And when you have a chance, and folks will be like, oh, they have a light schedule. Okay, well, guess what? Their schedule will tighten up. It'll be more difficult. We know what November is going to look like, Drew. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is the Jets have 18 points out of a potential of 20. It's not too shabby right now. So
and they are beginning to put again, it's way too early to be scoreboard watching, but we were talking about this. I think it was on Saturday's Illegal Curve Hockey Show, and of course we encourage you to join us this coming Saturday at 9 a.m. for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. But we were sort of laughing about how little space the Jets had put between themselves and their division rivals, despite being undefeated to that point in time. Despite, I guess they were 8-0 at that point, and they maybe had a point a point lead. Now they've played an extra game than both the Stars and the Minnesota Wild, but there's now 8 points at least between the Jets and the Avalanche, and there's 8 points between the Jets and the Blues, and there's 8 points between the Jets and the Utah Hockey Club. So maybe just a little bit more breathing room from first to fourth than there was on Saturday, and that's why it's important for the Jets to keep it going against the Columbus team on Friday night before they come home and they play Tampa Bay and they play Utah, and I can't forget it. I can't remember who else they have on the homestand, but all these games matter. Every game matters. Every game is still worth the same number of points, either 2 or 3 points are collected. So the Jets will gladly make hay when they have a weaker part of their schedule, as they're in the midst of it right now. Friday night, we'll be back with the post-game show after the Jets and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Do you have Moose news for us? I know you were at practice earlier today. So why don't I turn the Minuk Moose Minute over to you, and then we'll come back and wrap up the Illegal Curve post-game show. I guess I have to press the button then, don't I?
You do.
Okay, hang on. Let me find the button. I put my mouse down. Here we go.
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Minuk Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
Well, I can't give T. Kona Pauly for his birthday. Very happy birthday to T. Kona. I can't give him this puck. This is the home of hockey 10th season. Now that puck is more than 15 years old, because the Moose have been back for 10 seasons, but they left for a few, obviously, when the Jets came back and they went to St. John's. 25th season for the Manitoba Moose, but I was at practice today. It was an optional for the Manitoba Moose. Good to see CJ Cease after blocking a shot. He is back on the ice. But I did, for the record, get a practice puck, and I was going to give it to T. Kona Pauly for his birthday, because it may have been shot by Tyrell Bauer. I'm not 100% certain, but I can tell you, speaking of Tyrell Bauer, T. Kona, I told him it was your birthday, and he said, and I quote, "Wish T. Kona Pauly a happy birthday." So hopefully that makes T. Kona Pauly's day. I was very excited when Tyrell said that, because I was like, T. Kona's going to be tickled pink that he got the birthday wishes from Tyrell Bauer, the Moose defenseman, Jets defensive prospect. So some exciting news for T. Kona, I hope, and hopefully he's having a great birthday. And
this is the best Minuk Moose Minute ever.
Yeah. And Charlie Horse saying, what's Bauer's prognosis? He's good. He's, slowly but surely, he had a back issue that flared up. I think it was in the game against Grand Rapids, the first game against Grand Rapids. And so he missed those 2, and then he missed the 2 this weekend against Rockford, but he's back on the ice. And like I said, it was an optional today. A lot of guys take the optionals off, but you had guys like Brad Lambert skating and Nikita Chibrikov and Parker Ford. And so, like I said, the Moose are back in action. We're going to have Moose tickets to give away. I'm not going to give them away now, but if you want to go, wouldn't be a bad idea to send me an email, dave@illegalcurve.com. There's a game on Friday night, which is going up against the Jets, but it is what it is. And then there's a game on Saturday night. But again, I'll have to check. I think we have tickets for both games. I haven't looked in the IC zone yet. But if you want to go, dave@illegalcurve.com is the email. And I'm just going to tease, because the Jets are off tomorrow. The Moose are practicing. I had a really good chat today with Moose goalie coach Drew McIntyre. So I'm going to have that available tomorrow on illegalcurve.com. We're going to have both an article and the chat. And he and I, I wasn't going to say sat down, but we didn't sit down. We were both standing and spoke for about 7 minutes today. And he gave me a tremendous amount of insight on the Jets goalie prospects, Thomas Milic and Dominic DiVincentis, because, of course, very unusual to have a 21 and 20-year-old goaltending tandem. In fact, it's the youngest goaltending tandem, no surprise, in the American Hockey League this year. Yeah. And Dominic,
when you combine their age, their age combined is younger than all of us, which is really depressing now that I think about it.
There you go. And so that's it for the Moose stuff. And I should mention, though, and thank you to Brent for mentioning Ville Heinola and Jared Anderson Dolan. Jared Anderson Dolan, I jokingly referenced in the article today, Drew, is like the forgotten one. It's like, oh yeah, him, because of course he was sent down, then recalled, put on IR. He had a broken foot, but both Ville Heinola and Jared Anderson Dolan are skating. So that's good sign for them that for Jared Anderson Dolan means he's probably going back to the Moose. But for Ville Heinola, we know he may go to the Moose on a conditioning assignment, but he should be, he'll be back up at the Jets. And the last thing I'll say, Drew, and then I'm done.
Okay.
Jets prospect Kevin Heath, 2024 4th rounder, didn't get any points in yesterday's Ice Dogs 2-1 shootout win, but he fired 10 shots on net. He leads the OHL in that category with 74 in 13 games. and he's tied for fourth in points with 21. So he's been a steal of a deal early
No
in the
other
OHL
show,
season.
no other post-game show will give you the running shot totals from OHL players than the Illegal Curve post-game
Well,
show.
I mean, look, I wouldn't, like, generally speaking, although it's funny, I was about to say something and then I realized I was actually going to disprove myself because I did take note that Kyle Connor eclipsed the 1,700 shot mark today. So,
okay, that's
I
enough
guess
out of you. You've been talking for long enough. We're going to wrap the show at that point in time. It sounds like the baseball game is getting down to the nitty-gritty. So let's go watch that. Big thanks to our friends at Play Now for their title sponsorship of our programming. Don't bet on illegal sites. Bet with Play Now instead. Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. Also, a big thanks to Seagram's. A big thanks to Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. Holt Dental, Boston Pizza, City Place. We had a great time there this past Monday. And for the support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Great companies, all of them. Please support them because they support us and you support us and we support you. It's all working hand in hand with one another. We'll be back Friday night after the Jets and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Be sure to join us then. In the interim, illegalcurve.com and our YouTube channel is the number one destinations for all your latest Winnipeg Jets news and audio. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast. Let us know what you think. For Dave Minuk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until Friday night, right around 8:30 p.m., we wish you good night and good luck. And thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show presented by Play Now.